David F says, "Hey guys, looking back to the Yankees' colorful history, who were some of your favorite postseason pitchers? I really enjoyed watching El Duque. He won so many big games." I mean, I know exactly where Stacey's going for this one. Exactly where you're going.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsulias. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. With me, as always, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian, it's another Friday.
It's another Friday. We made it. We're that much closer to the season starting.
That's true. That's true. It's mid-January at this point. So before you know it, we'll be talking about guys arriving for spring training and doing all that stuff. And we'll be bitching and moaning about how cold it is in New York and how nice it looks in Florida while they're playing the games, because that's always a fun time.
More than likely.
Yeah. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified whenever our videos go live. Coming up, it's Fanmail Friday. You guys know every Friday we do Fanmail Friday, and we answer insider questions first. Then we go to YouTube, and we told people to ask us anything. Some people obliged, some people did not. I mean, what are you going to do? But as usual, we start with the insiders, and as usual, we start with Betty, and this is Betty's Fanmail Friday question. Notre Dame or Ohio State? We are Go Irish all the way.
Betty, I hate to disappoint you. I never want to, but I am on the Buckeyes all the way. OSU is going to kill Notre Dame. And I'm Irish. I've got a shamrock tattoo on my wrist, and I don't think the Irish have any chance in this game. I really think that. I went to Ohio State earlier this year to a game in Columbus. That's got a little bit of an emotional pull for me, but I don't know about you, Stacey. I don't think the Irish have a chance in this game.
I don't know much about college football. I did watch Notre Dame's last game. I didn't really watch the Ohio State one, though. Did I? I don't think I did.
They beat Texas, yeah.
Oh, wait, I did see some of that game, yeah. I went to a Division III school. I don't care about football. My brother, on the other hand, went to Florida, so he pulls for the Gators and everything, but I don't care. So I'm not pulling for anyone, Betty. I don't.
Sorry, Betty.
I know. Sorry. And I should, too, because I'm Irish, but...
that just tells you Ohio State's winning the game. If Stacey doesn't have a poll, Ohio State's winning the game. Let's go to Ethan. Ethan says, do you think the MLB should expand? If so, how many new teams and where would they play? I was thinking of at least 2 with Montreal and Louisville. Would you like to see any others? Stacey, I'd say this. I do think expansion's on the way. I don't know if it's going to come in the variety of a team. See, I don't know if expanding, what he does mean is they're going to add 2 teams. You'd have to add 2. You can't add 1 and make the leagues uneven. Right. So you'd have to add 2. And I honestly think MLB is more closer to moving teams than they are to expanding. Yeah. I don't think Louisville's on their radar. I think, classically it would be nice, just for, the Louisville Slugger Museum is there and stuff. I don't think they're going to be putting it there. There's not enough fan in that area, and plus Chicago's too close to put a team there. I would say I think one of the hot city, Montreal for sure wants a team, but I think we're closer to the Rays going there than we are to because the A's are going to Vegas. I think we're closer to the Rays going to Montreal than a team expanding, because you don't have to change their division. They're still they're actually closer to their divisional teams if they go to Montreal. Makes a little more sense. They have to build an indoor stadium and get a lot of city funding, so they're not really close to going to Montreal. I do think the other city that would be close to adding a team, and I think this would work, and I'd love your opinion, Nashville. I think Nashville would really work. There's a lot of sports fans down there, a lot of motivation for it. The population's risen there a lot in the last couple of years. I think that's a city that would work a lot. I'm not really sure what the territorial rights are with the Cardinals and the Braves, but it's not that close to those 2 teams. That's where I would think, but I think baseball's closer to moving teams than they are to expanding.
Yeah, and there was word today I saw that something's up with the Rays stadium deal again, that it might not be happening now. So, and the owner wants to sell, or he wants to. So something's going on with the
Well,
Rays.
that's the best. That's the best way for anything to happen is if the owner sells and you get some billionaire mogul to buy the team and build his own stadium. I think Montreal is the they have a stadium that can go play in immediately. The city has been willing to give public funding to put a team there. They wouldn't have to change divisions. I think that's the closer one to happening than anything else, to be honest with you. I don't think there's much motivation to expand, unlike the NHL was. I think the NFL is closer. I don't think baseball is very looking forward to expanding very much.
Thank you for the question, Ethan. Next, Thomas asks or says, I meant to post this question for your Michael K episode, so I'll ask you guys instead. Is there a Yankee you enjoy watching? Not necessarily because he's so good, but because he's so much fun to watch.
It's a really interesting question. Right now, it's tough because the Yankees are full of pretty good players. They're one of the top teams in the league, so they don't have a lot of guys that are just like middling in there. Because like years ago, you would have given like Andrew Velasquez as an answer to this because he's fun to watch and
who's back with the Yankees on a minor league deal.
Who is back, but he's not. I would say like years ago, I would have given James Paxton. He was a fun guy to watch who always, had a great fastball, great breaking balls, that kind of stuff. Always had the ability to give you like a 15 strikeout game. Right now, I don't know if there's a guy on the team. Like, I look forward to Jason Dominguez just to see what he's going to do. Anthony Volpe, those kind of guys. But like, that's just because of where their progression's going. They're full of good players right now.
Maybe Oswaldo Cabrera, just because he's always so happy.
And if they let him play a little more, it would be better,
Yeah, that's my answer, Oswaldo. Thank you for that question, Thomas.
David F. says, hey guys, looking back to the Yankees' colorful history, who were some of your favorite postseason pitchers? I really enjoyed watching El Duque. He won so many big games. I mean, I know exactly where Stacey's going for this one. Exactly where you're going. Andy Pettitte is absolutely the one that you're going to give.
Well,
for postseason pitchers?
Because I've seen him the most.
Well, yeah, and like, how could you give an answer other than that? I mean, when you think about back to his postseason career, I can think of one awful start that he had. It was the World Series game. Yeah, exactly, where he gave up like 10 runs or whatever. That's the only really awful one you can really remember. Every other postseason start, he kept him in games. Yeah. So I really can't. If I think of one now, honestly, it's got to be right now. I mean, it's a cop-out answer, but it's the truth. Right now, I go Gerrit Cole, only because there are so many people, like, especially Yankee Universe, and I don't know why, are always looking for reasons to tear down Yankee studs. I don't know why. But after that Boston start in 2018, was it 2018? No, it was 2019, I believe. The wild card game where Cole
2021.
Wow, time is crazy to me.
2019 was the walk-off against Houston.
Yeah, you're right.
Houston walking off against
them.
They
didn't even have Gerrit Cole before then. I don't know where my mind's at. I'm looking forward to Buffalo Wild Wings in an hour or so. But after that Boston start, where Cole pitched in that game with the injured hamstring, people were so quick to tear him down. And at that time, I was working on the radio, and the amount of calls that I fielded on Gerrit Cole, he's not a postseason pitcher. He's not a big game pitcher. After he had years of evidence with Houston where he dominated you in Yankee Stadium and you watched him dominate you, still wasn't a postseason pitcher, couldn't pitch in the Bronx, a million reasons. Since then, his ERA in the playoffs is like under 1, how good he's been since that one start. So I think, he's one of my guys that I like watching because of he has such a bulldog mentality and such a shut up the haters mentality that I love watching him in big starts. And really, has he had a underperforming performance in the playoffs ever other than that game? Other than that one game, I can't think of one game where he's pitched in the playoffs where you left that game wanting more.
Game 5.
He wasn't terrible in game. I mean, the covering the base was bad, but he wasn't. But he didn't pitch terrible in that game at all. He kept him in that game.
Yeah, I don't know. He had that one that he kind of fell apart. He had a no-hitter going, and then everything fell apart, and then the defense fell apart, and it all just fell apart. I don't know. But I mean, he did pitch after that and was fine, but
yeah, and he came back out into the 6th inning of that game and blew through them in the 6th inning. So no, I don't look at that start as a bad start. I think the 5th inning was awful and unraveled, but I don't think it was necessarily his fault.
Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notifications so you know when they go live. If you'd like to be part of next week's Fan Mail Friday, post a reply to our videos Monday through Thursday and start it with Fan Mail Friday, followed by your question, and ask us anything.
Yeah,
Right,
let's
Brian?
reiterate that. Let's ask us anything because until pitchers and catchers, there's only so many times we can keep answering what's their best option at third base. Ask us something about our own lives. It's a lot more interesting than what's going on in baseball right now anyway.
Yeah, and then when spring training starts, we can get back to the baseball stuff.
Exactly.
Or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club where you get top priority and your questions are answered in segment 1 for the most part, but sometimes segment 2. They spilled over this week. The link is in the description, and it isn't only for Fan Mail Friday. You get text from us. You can text us questions. There's a 14-day free trial. It's a lot of fun. Coming up next, more Fan Mail Friday.
Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or were they paying or that you were paying for twice? That definitely happened to me. I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was paying for, and Rocket Money made it easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant available for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending and helps lower bills so that you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. For me, one of the best features is the subscription tracker. I've used it to cancel services I wasn't using anymore, and I've already saved a ton of money. Plus, with their goals feature, I've been able to automatically set aside for my future. No more stressing about budgeting every single month. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/locked-on today. That's rocketmoney.com/locked-on. rocketmoney.com/locked-on. Stacey, more insider questions before we hit up the YouTube community. Insiders did a great job this week, bleeding over into the second segment. Let's go to Erica S. Erica says, did either of you ever regret leaving a game early?
That's Eric S., by the way.
Wow, my bad, Eric. Sorry.
Yes. I've told this story before. I'll tell it again. September
Please.
15th, 1984, Yankees Red Sox. Sitting in the loge with my Uncle George and my father. I'm wearing my favorite strawberry shortcake outfit because even at 10, I still liked wearing strawberry shortcake outfits. And I start feeling a fever coming on. And my dad can tell that something's up with me because I was kind of like, ugh. And he's like, what's the matter with you? I'm like, I don't feel good. And he felt my forehead and I was burning up. And he says, well, we got to go home. I said, no, we can't go home. We can't leave the game early. And we left the game early. They were up 3-1 when we left. They went down 4-3 when we were in the car listening to it. And I blamed myself because I've told this story too before. I had been to 10 games and they hadn't lost yet. And that was my first loss. And I blamed myself because we left early.
It's a bad one.
Yeah.
I religiously do not leave games early. I don't do it. I
don't anymore.
It's a strict rule that I have. I have now been to over 180 baseball games in my life. When you count overall sporting events, I don't know the number. It's somewhere over 300 though. I don't leave early. I refuse. I will never do it. I've seen too many good comebacks. I was at the game when the Yankees came back. I actually forget the opponent right now. You're going to remember the opponent because it was a few years ago. Jacoby Ellsbury hit a grand slam in the game. Brian McKeon hit the walk-off Baltimore.
Oh,
they were down,
no. Brian McKeon hit the walk-off?
They were down 9-1, and then they were down 12-2.
No, that was Matt Holliday hit the walk-off. That was 2017.
And that was against Baltimore. Yeah, okay. So that was.
Yep.
I was at that game. I didn't leave that game. So there's no game.
Castro hit a home run.
He did. Starling Castro.
Ellsbury's was his 100th home run, and it was a grand slam.
Yes, Jacoby Ellsbury did. So I was at that game. Didn't leave. Saw the whole comeback. I don't leave games early. I saw plenty of Jet games with my dad in the past for like when the Jets were good and they came back. So no, I don't leave games early. I refuse to. The people that I get less, let's tear these people down. The people who leave concerts early. That one I never understand. Like to beat the traffic, the band plays their best songs at the end. Well, yeah. Why are you leaving? It makes that one. I I understand the sports fan leaving early. I don't agree with it, but I get it. The leaving a concert early people boggle my mind. I'll never let's skip the traffic, but also miss the band's best songs that we mostly paid to see.
Mm-hmm.
For the life of me, I'll never understand that one.
Thank you for the question, Eric. Our final insider question, you can read it, from Bobby.
Which new acquisition thus far this offseason would you say will make the most impact in 2025? I'll give the same answer that I've been giving. Mine's Cody Bellinger. I just think that bat in the middle of the lineup, I think Cody Bellinger's been good enough over the last few years where you're not going to notice the impact of Soto gone as much. Now, you will miss it. Soto's a future Hall of Famer. You're going to miss that impact. But I think Cody Bellinger's got plenty of potential to give you 35, 40 home runs, to give you 90 RBIs. I think he's going to give you not the same production, but close with better fielding than Soto gave you. And I'll go with the thing that Kay said. You're only upgrading a strength with adding Fried, so I can't call that the most impactful addition. And Devin Williams too. Like they have a closer in their bullpen with Luke Weaver. They added on to a strength. I think Bellinger is the most sensible one there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that Devin Williams will have an impact because they got him to be the closer, and they don't have to really search, and they don't have to like audition people for closer, and they don't have to play around and figure out, because, the bullpen was not a total mess last year, but it wasn't great with Holmes blowing 13 saves. And, it took until the very end of the year for them to find Luke Weaver and realize what he could do as a closer.
The thing that bothered us last year was the fact that they refused to move to audible. They refused to change what they were doing, right? Because we complained about it constantly last year. The amount of time that it took to take Holmes out of the closer role was crazy. The belief in Clay Holmes that was unjustified for so long into the season, that's what bothered us the most, I think. It wasn't that Clay Holmes didn't work out. It was the fact that you refused to shift what you were doing the entire year.
Right. Like, this wasn't a guy you had signed for like $25 million a year as a closer, and you had to keep him there to keep his ego not being bruised. This was some guy you got in a trade, and you were treating him like you were paying him billions of dollars to be the closer. It was very, very odd of them to do. So I think in that sense, Williams has a chance to be a pretty impactful player in 2025.
I think it made sense too, because Clay Holmes and Luke Weaver kind of have a little bit of the same trajectory, whereas they weren't players that you were necessarily viewing as elite bullpen arms, and all of a sudden became that, which is great. But I think they learned their lesson with Clay Holmes, right? They went into the year with him as their closer, and he wasn't able to be their closer. He wasn't able to perform up to that level. And yeah, you expect Weaver to become a dominant bullpen arm, but Stacey, there's no guarantee of that. So I think that Devin Williams is insurance, and it's that Devin Williams is an elite closer. So I think you made sure that you got that part of your team down, and you allow Luke Weaver to just be an elite bullpen arm.
Mm-hmm. All right, that does it for the insider questions. Now we move on to YouTube, and the first YouTube question, Andy Ferguson from Scotland, right? Wasn't Andy from Scotland? We answered a question from him last week. If no team is willing to take Stroman at even 10 million pounds, I can't do conversions in my head. With the Yankees eating 8, do you think we should make him the number 5 starter and trade Schmidt or Heel for a top-class controllable infielder? I would rather see Stroman start every 5th day than see DJ start every day at 3rd. That makes sense. His ERA was 4.31. Given the weakness of the AL, I think we need a quality infielder for October more than a 5th starter.
I actually disagree with you. I think the money is going to be more important to them, getting rid of the 10 pounds attached to Stroman's contract.
10 million pounds, yeah.
10 million pounds, yeah. I think that's going to be more important of shedding that salary to the Yankees. They can find an infielder. And again, I'll say this, Andy, and we've been reiterating this for a lot of the offseason. Who is the top tier infielder that you want them trading for? Because while Schmidt and Heel are top tier, tradable assets, I'd agree with you. You don't want to necessarily just give them away, though. You want to make a trade that's good for you. And giving up one of those guys right now, you better get yourself an elite infielder back. Not someone that's good or has potential. You want an elite infielder back. And I don't know who that guy is that's A, available from a team, and B, a team's going to be willing to move at this point. I think shedding Stroman's $10 million makes more sense right now for them to get back under the luxury tax, the Cohen threshold they're at, to get under that mark, to keep themselves under. Also, what you're forgetting too is getting rid of that money from Stroman is going to allow the Yankees to have more flexibility at the trade deadline if they need to pick up money from somebody else. So I think the Stroman one right now is a little more important. And I get what you're saying, not needing that fifth starter in the postseason, and I agree with you. But there's always the potential of Healer Schmidt to move into the bullpen at that point. And those guys, more often than not, Stacey, I know you can attest to this. Those back end starters that had good years often have really big impacts in the postseason. So, and what impact did Marcus Stroman give them last year in the postseason? Yeah, I don't think they believe in him very much. I don't.
No. Thank you for the question.
Ambitious Monk. Fanmail Friday, butterfly effect. Did the universal DH rule cost the Yankees last year's World Series? Ohtani signed with LA because of the universal DH rule, and it was in place as a result. He had the option not to play the field with an NL team. Otherwise, he would either have 1, played a position for an NL team, or 2, stayed in the AL. While this is not 100% deterrent to sign with the LA Dodgers, without the universal DH rule, LA Dodgers would have needed to play Ohtani in left field, and I feel LA Dodgers would have never signed Tio. And thus, Game 2 World Series' home run and top 5 double would have never happened. The home run versus San Diego and the LDS would have never happened, and LA Dodgers might not have made the World Series. Thoughts? Thanks, guys. Love the show. Well, I think it's a little bit of an irrelevant point only because I do think the universal DH was always going to happen. I don't think it was ever going to change regardless. But I guess let's entertain this, right, Stacey? I would say no, because Ohtani really wasn't that much of an impact against the Yankees in the World Series.
Right.
He really wasn't. Like, I hate admitting that because that quote might come back to bite me in the behind next year if they play each other in the World Series and Ohtani goes 7 for 7 with 7 home runs. But Ohtani didn't kill them in the World Series.
No, like he was the one guy that you were expecting to kill them, and instead it was Freddie Freeman and his bum ankle. So
yeah, he got hurt it was Game 1 against the Yankees. Ohtani, or it was a Game 2. It might have been Game 2. But that injury, he was never the same after that injury. So, no, I don't agree. I mean, the home run against San Diego was legendary that he hit. He definitely had a big postseason, but up until the injury, he really didn't mean that much. And again, I don't think the universal DH rule killed them because this rule that rule was coming no matter what. And I think you knew from like 2000, I don't know. I guess this is a better question for you to answer. When did you feel like the rule was inevitably going to change or they were going to put a DH in both leagues? Like, what year was it around? Because for me, it was like, I feel like I was waiting on it for like a decade.
Yeah, it felt like it was coming for a while. I was sick and tired of seeing pitchers. I know there was a division because NL people liked seeing pitchers hit, which I don't know why, because most of them didn't hit. They liked the double switch. They liked the strategy of it and all that stuff. Where I grew up watching AL baseball and was sick and tired of, I was emotionally damaged by Chien-Ming Wang getting injured in Houston. Like that ruined his career. And, because he was trying to run the bases as a pitcher. You did get some funny moments. Andy Pettitte in the 2009 World Series getting that hit.
Jacket.
And that was always funny too, watching the pitchers on the bases with the jackets on to warm up their arms.
As if it made that much of a difference.
Yeah. But it felt like it was coming for a long time, and I kind of wanted it because I was sick of people getting injured, and I was sick of watching pitchers go up there and flail away because they're not used to hitting, and it wasn't fun for me.
Yeah, I thought it was the dumbest argument ever when people wanted to keep the pitcher. There wasn't that much strategy involved. There really wasn't. If anything, it shortened pitcher starts because if you were at like 80 pitches in the fifth inning, they were going to pull you to get a better hitter in. And the argument you always got from NL fans that you knew, they'd say, "Oh, well, some of the pitchers, they're good hitters, like Bumgarner. Bumgarner was a good hitter for a pitcher. He wasn't a good hitter. He wasn't a guy that you'd hit third in your lineup. He wasn't a good hitter. He was just good for a pitcher. So he still hit 175. none of these guys were great hitters or impactful hitters. It made no sense ever. So yeah, this rule was coming for a long time, and quite frankly, should have been added longer ago.
Thank you for the question, Ambitious Monk. Coming up next, our final 2 YouTube questions.
From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets. If you win your first bet, that's $300 to keep the action going. The FanDuel app is easy to navigate, and the variety of bets keeps every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. Whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's all available on FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel. It's an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Welcome back. 2 more YouTube questions, and then we're done for the week. I can't believe it. The weeks are just flying by this offseason.
I'm so excited for the weekend. I really am. I mean, the outside of baseball, the football weekend that we're headed for is the best, one of the best sports weekends of the year.
That's
honestly.
true.
It's going to be so much fun.
That's true. All right, our first of the last 2 questions from Evan Macbeth. What one Yankee from the past could have been added to the 2024 playoff roster to ensure they beat the Dodgers and won the championship, and why is it Mo?
I don't know if it's Mo. I don't know if it's Mo for sure, because I don't know if they would have put him in the 8th inning anyway, or in the extra innings anyway. I'm trying to think. I mean, can we just go basic and could I mean, think about Mickey Mantle in that lineup, it would have been pretty insane.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Soto, Judge, Mantle back to back to back. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know where Mantle would have played. There was no availability for him, like in the field. We just throw him in left field.
Yeah, instead of Verdugo, instead of Verdugo, you have Mickey Mantle. You're winning the series.
That would have been a pretty good upgrade, actually. I'm not going to lie. You could have brought DiMaggio. You could have brought DiMaggio. I mean, I'm sure DiMaggio would have caught the ball instead of Judge in center.
I think Bernie would have caught the ball in center instead of Judge.
Bernie probably would have caught that ball.
And Bernie had some really big home runs in playoffs,
Yeah. I mean, listen, Tino Martinez at first base would have been a pretty good addition, seeing that, Anthony Rizzo couldn't hit, and I'm sure Tino Martinez would have covered the bag too.
Yeah, and forgot how to play defense too, Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah, a lot of guys.
Yeah, there are quite a few that could have been added to the playoff roster to ensure that
I don't know if they were beating that Dodger team, because that Dodger team was awesome, but still.
Nah, I think they could have. I think if they played better, they could have, because all the numbers.
Does the 98 Yankees beat the Dodgers team?
Yes. Without a doubt.
One of the greatest teams of all time.
I would bet my hair on that. Yes, the 98 team would definitely beat the Dodgers. Yes. All right, you get the last question.
Yeah, it's coming from Neil Brandt 4055. Just listened to the Poached Coaches episode, the name of my new punk rock band. If the feeling around the league is that the Yankees can develop talent, why can't they teach baseball? Namely, they can't teach how to hit a cutoff man, can't teach base running, and in many instances can't teach how to have a 2-strike approach. Seems like they rely on talent over skill. Oh, Neil.
Well, I mean, okay, because I was thinking about this when I was putting the rundown together, and we spoke about this. I joked about, why can't these guys teach these guys how to do anything? These guys have been playing baseball since they're kids. They should know this stuff already. If you have to teach a major leaguer about hitting the cutoff man and teaching them how to base run, then
also they do hit the cutoff man. That's not something they don't do.
Yeah, that's not an issue that they
when baseball teams have workouts and practices in spring training, it does not work like you at your kids' YMCA baseball practice. It's not the same thing. They're not screaming hit the cutoff man, and 2-strike approaches are not the same as a 2-strike approach that you might have had when you were playing baseball and stuff. There is no 2-strike approach anymore. Well, there is, but it's completely different. The 2-strike approach now is not, no one chokes up on their bat. They are told not to choke up on their bat. That is not a Yankee thing. That is universal across all of baseball. You are supposed to keep your swing exactly the same as it normally is, because you can still hit a home run with 2 strikes. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to blame the Yankees on that. The Yankees do hit the cutoff man. They don't throw it over guys. And base running, the Yankees aren't full of bad base runners. They're full of 2 or 3 guys who don't focus on the bases and are bad base runners. Those guys
and one of them is not there anymore.
Yes. And those guys exist all throughout the sport. So blaming the Yankees and their farm system for it is not fair because, guys make these mistakes across the whole league. I think it's just more notified because we watch the Yankees mostly. This happens across the entire league.
Glaber was a Cubs prospect, so blame the Cubs.
True. Although he did split time between both systems.
No, I know, but he started with them, so it's their fault.
But you're right, though. The baseball smarts and training of the physical game, that's done before they hit this level. That's done in high school. That's done in Federation ball. That's done when you're a kid playing travel baseball. That is not done when you're at this level. Those things are second nature, and trust me, they are. But if you think that Aaron Boone's out there in spring training screaming "hit the cutoff man" to Aaron Judge, that's not what's happening.
I will say one of my favorite GIFs, however you say it, of all time was in Fenway, Johnny Damon playing center field and throwing it in, and Manny Ramirez diving for it and catching it for some unknown reason. And
that's good. But that was Manny being Manny.
Yes.
That was Manny being Manny.
Yes, but that's one of my favorite. That's when you're like, no, you're not supposed to be the cutoff man. What are you doing?
It's so great, that clip.
Oh, that is classic. If you guys don't know, if you guys don't remember, just, I don't know what you would type in for that, but just
Manny Ramirez cutoff.
Yeah,
I'm sure that'll bring it up.
That'll probably bring it up. Yeah, I'm picturing it in my head. And
you know
also,
what? It's a Friday night, and there's only the Knicks tonight. Do yourself a favor, search Manny Ramirez bloopers.
Yeah,
that'll come up in that. It'll be one of those.
Actually, one of my favorites was in I think it was the '98 ALCS when he was still with Cleveland, and he climbed the wall to catch a ball, and the ball hit off the bottom of the wall.
Yeah, that's a great one. Him running towards the ball on the line and putting his glove up like this before the ball even was on the floor. That's a great one. Him coming out of the Green Monster
after he pissed
in the middle of an inning to pee back there was great. Yeah, he's a character.
Excuse me, pee. I know piss is so. That's
vulgar.
That's so vulgar coming from my mouth. I apologize, but yeah, that's I can't even because I know Meredith went back into the Green Monster, and all I thought about was Manny's pee. I was like, ew, that's just no. Oh, we did get a question.
Yeah.
From someone named Mattingly. What? No. We did get a question from someone named Natalie who asked us why we haven't had Meredith on the show.
Interesting. We can try for that. I don't have her number, I don't think, but I can look into getting her number. We can have her on.
I mean, we could try. I mean, I know some of these people just don't want to talk during the off season.
I mean, Meredith works 9 months out of the year with the Yankees, so I think she probably enjoys her time off. But we're getting closer to that time of year, so maybe.
Yeah. But I wanted to make it a point that I did not overlook your question. I just didn't think it was a real Fan Mail Friday question. I thought it was more of a show question. So there you go, Natalie. We'll try. We'll keep you updated. But just be warned that some people are just not in the mood, because
you get that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. There are some days I don't want to talk about baseball, but I get paid to do it. And if I had 3 months off in the off season to not talk about baseball, you can bet your butt that I would not be talking about baseball. On that note, thank you for watching Locked On Yankees and making it your first listen today. For your second listen, you can find Locked On MLB. Baseball guru Sully brings you a daily blend of humor and baseball, keeping you updated on every rumor and story throughout the offseason. You can find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And that's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys next week.